Welcome to yet another edition of BW Dialogue. Today we have a very special guest who really doesn't need an introduction. He's straddled many spheres. He's been a bureaucrat, he's been a union minister, he's an author, and now he is turned into a motivational speaker and a motivation creator for many through his latest book, which is called The Winning Formula, 50 Ways to Change Your Life. We have Mr. KJ Alphons today in BW Dialogue. Mr. Alphons, thank you for talking to Businessworld, and congratulations on your latest book.
Thanks, Annurag. Thanks for inviting me here to talk to you. It's very nice.
It's called The Winning Formula. Is winning that important?
No, Annurag, actually, the winning part, the word is winning against yourself. Because if you win your fears, your complexes, the fact that a lot of people don't think great about themselves, so it's winning against yourself, overcoming yourself, and then going forward. So it's not winning against anybody else, because I don't like this whole concept of competition, beating somebody else. I'm first. No. I don't approve of such things, because life is about living one's own life the way you want to, and then so basically you got to bring out the best in yourself. So it's overcoming your inherent fears. That's the whole thing.
Mr. KJ Alphons, you're uniquely positioned because you started in a small village in Kerala, and then you did well. But not many people know, you've documented in the book in your first chapter, called Disaster Strikes. Give us a sense of how you started and how did you overcome the initial setbacks that you had.
My life to begin with was a huge disaster. I'm son of a school teacher, grew up in the village. We are a middle class family. We had 5 acres of land, the river flowing through our land. So we had great fun. We were 9 children, and my parents were, let's say, a little crazy. They adopted 2 more from the orphanage. So we became 11 children. So we played, sang, danced. We had a great time. But when it came to writing the examination, I never participated in any competition in school at all. I was a tiny little child. I never won a prize. And when I was going to write the 10th board examination, there was no 12th board then, only 10th board. So the principal said, the headmaster said, ask your father to come, who himself is a school teacher. So he went and said, and the principal said, ask your son to repeat 1 more year, because he will never get through and he will bring bad reputation to the school. So let him repeat 1 more year and he can write the examination next year. I said, I can't, because the girls in my class, imagine sitting with your junior girls and studying. So I said no, and long argument happened, but the principal said no. So finally I managed to smuggle in my application form. I befriended the clerk who was dealing with this, made good friends with him, and smuggled in my application form. And when the results came, the first miracle in my life happened. I passed. There's a big celebrations in my house when I got 42%, because everybody said I was going to not make it at all. And it's very funny because, when I was Secretary School Education, a mother came to me very angry, shouting with her daughter. She says, my daughter got only 499 out of 500. Where is that 1 mark gone? When the kid gets 499 out of 500, most parents are not happy. In my house, they were thrilled, they were very happy, so we had big time celebrations. After that, I went fishing. I know fishing, I know how to throw a net. My father taught me. I used to use a fishing rod. So I was sitting with a fishing rod, fishing on the river, on a tree, and suddenly I was thinking of something else, and suddenly the fish bit and then dragged my fishing rod away. So I thought my only equipment to the world, to succeed in the world, is gone. So what do I do? So I sat there and thought, and I said, everybody calls me an idiot. Everybody says this guy is useless. My teachers, my friends, neighborhood. Am I useless? Am I an idiot? Then something like, something came over me. I don't know what it is, and which made me believe that moment that I'm intelligent, I'm capable, I'm talented. I said, it's not my parents, my teachers, my friends, my neighborhood which would decide whether I'm intelligent and whether I'm talented. I said, I am talented, I'm intelligent. That's my moment of inspiration, and we call it the moment of inspiration. Then I went to college, taught, I didn't know how to write one sentence in the English language properly because I studied in the Malayalam medium school. My village didn't have electricity, so we studied under the kerosene lamp. So when I went to college, I didn't know one sentence in the English language. So I took the Oxford Dictionary and studied 25 pages a day. And how do you study words?
You said you made the Oxford Dictionary your friend.
My best friend, and I took reams of paper, made sentences with these words because that's how a word makes sense. Then I would listen to the BBC, there was the English speaking course, and I said, if I speak English, I must speak proper English.
Right.
And then when I learned a bit of English, I started reading books, then I went to classics, then I would, if I like a passage in a classic, I would try to imitate in my own words, So I did tons of reading, tons of writing.
You listen to music.
Yes, then I also...
And you say in your book that you loved Pink Floyd, another brick in the wall, that you would listen to it almost once a day.
Oh yes, and that was a little later, past 20. I love music. My favorite group, of course, is the Beatles. I think they are the greatest music ever. Then, of course, comes Pink Floyd. Then, of course, I like Bob Dylan. I loved Elton John. I love John Denver, Jim Reeves. These are fantastic singers which made a lot of sense to me and influenced me a lot. In terms of, imagine John Lennon's lyrics of Imagine. A world where there is no caste and creed, when there is no religion which divides humanity, where we all live together. So these things influence my thinking a lot. So my heart, a lot of that comes from a lot of these music. Imagine Pink Floyd. A brick in the wall, the album, where it says, hey kids, a teacher, don't make us bricks in the wall. What is a brick? Brick is something same size, same breadth. And so the whole education system, I believe, is trying to convert kids into a brick in the wall. So that you think the same way, you behave the same way. So just like a brick, you can just put them into the wall, and everybody, you can just close your eyes and make a wall. So in one of my chapters in my book, I'm saying, don't be photocopies. Do not ever be a brick in the wall. Don't be a photocopy of parents.
Be unique.
Be
yourself.
Be unique. So in college, I've learned English. Then I decided I want to become an orator. I said, I need to communicate with the world. So I closed myself in my room for 6 months, spoke to the wall. Crazy. Most parents would have taken them to the mental hospital. So after 6 months, I came to take part in the first debate. A large, huge auditorium. So I thought I was going to do a good job, but nobody else thought that way. So when I started speaking into a couple of minutes, all the guys started howling. I didn't stop. Then they started throwing paper at me. I didn't stop. Then they started throwing books at me. I didn't stop. Finally, shoes. When I finished my speech, I had 250 shoes on the stage. I could have opened a shoe store, and that would have the end of my life. I said, no, I want to be an orator. See, a lot of us can say, no, I don't have the talent. I don't believe in this. I think if I just persevered, then eventually what happened? Went back to my room, spoke to the wall, and for a long time I didn't take part in a debate. Then I came to take part in a debate, and again miracle happened. No shoes thrown at me. After a long time, I got small little prize, became bigger, and eventually I became the best national debater for 3 years, best national debater. Imagine, from shoes being thrown at me to become the best national debater. I love speaking. I've spoken to something like 2 million students in the past 40 years. I like interacting with young people, telling them, my story, how I came from nowhere, from nothingness, into something. And so that was the disaster part. And then, of course, how I built myself up into. So in the college, university, I won every prize in everything. I became a student leader. I was in the student union. I was in the university choir. I was in the university dramatic. I was a basketball player. So I won a prize in everything. And I was great friends with my classmates and got along very well.
Mr. Alphons, your story is truly inspirational. and it can help other people get inspired and learn from it and make an effort. Now, there are many motivational books. Why should one pick up your book? What is so special about this book?
Yeah, see, this book is very special because whole lot of motivational books are theoretical. Take from Napoleon Hill, great writers, fantastic people. To everybody else, they are mostly theoretical. My book is different because it's a lived book. I have lived this, what I'm writing. So out of these 52 chapters, each is only about 3-4 pages, 13 are about my life. I kind of led a cowboy life, in the I.A.S. and later in politics. And then about 39 other people who are absolutely ordinary people, but who have done astounding things. So the whole message of the book is very simple. It is not to say I'm great. No. The message of the book is simple. Whatever I have done, anybody can do better. So it's kind of put confidence into people, put in the fire, put a light of fire on the belly of people to say, look here, you are not an idiot, you are not a fool, you are not ordinary, you can do extraordinary things. So, once I finished my college in the final year, I decided, I was looking around, where can I make the biggest difference? And then I saw the district collector and the SP and all that, and I said, oh, these guys have the power. I said, I must have the power. Then I said, I must do the I.A.S. Then I decided to do the I.A.S. So there's a whole chapter on how I did the civil service examinations. I had only 9 months to go. See, I'm from the old system and there was only one straight written examination, no preliminary. And we had to take 3 optional subjects, lower, and 2 higher papers. Then, of course, the essay and general knowledge and all that. These days, things are much easier. You have to take only one optional, which can be your mother tongue also. And then, of course, there's a preliminary exam. So in our times, I think it was much tougher doing 3 optionals. I'm a student of economics, but I took history, sociology, philosophy, subjects which I never studied before, and I had only 9 months. So my book tells whoever is interested in civil service and really to do well in anything, how do you decide on doing something, and after you decide, how do you achieve that target? How did I wrote in my diary, I want to be one of the toppers, even though I had only 9 months. And I had 9 months, so I divided my entire schedule into 6 months for study and 3 months for revision. 6 months before I touched a book, I had my entire schedule. When do I wake up? When do I go to sleep? When do I study? It was all in my timetable. Everything. And it's not only that I would say 9 to 11 history, but I would say 9 to 11 history, chapter 15 to 18. So everything was very, very laid on in detail, and I would never study more than 8 hours. Even when I was studying for the I.A.S, I would go with my friends, go see movies, go to a disco, go to a restaurant, enjoy myself, listen to music. But when I study for 8 hours, it's complete concentration. Of course, we were lucky, there were no mobile phones those days. There was no television those days. So it's a great lesson for anybody who has aspirations, not only for the I.A.S, for the civil service, anybody who wants to do things from 42%. And when the results came, I became one of the toppers. And I did extremely well in my written exams. I spoke all against the government in the interview because I thought I'm a national debater, I can get away. But the interview board thought I was being pretty radical, opposing government policy. So I keep advising people who come to me for to be mentoring them for the interview, saying don't do the way I said. You can say exactly what I said in a different language. Like instead of saying, I oppose prohibition, I can say there is a school of thought which thinks prohibition is wrong. Get me? So I got my I.A.S, then I got into the academy. Then, of course, there's a whole chapter in my book on the academy, on the I.A.S academy.
Life at the academy. Now, when you start the book, you dedicate the book to your grandchildren. You have 2 boys.
No, a boy and a girl.
A boy and a girl, and you did ask them before entering politics, because they encourage you, follow your heart. Now you talk about the book is dedicated to the joy of life and curiosity.
Yeah,
Why
because
is curiosity so important in life?
Yeah, Anurag, it's so important because you see, my kids are only, grandchildren are only 4 and 2. And my daughter-in-law is a white American, but then she named the children Shiva and Sai, very Indian. I think curiosity is the most important thing. Like I was member of the drafting committee of the new education policy, NEP. And the first part reflects a lot of my thinking when I say we must discover knowledge. A child should discover what is the truth instead of being spoon fed, told this is the truth, and being told by the teacher, take the dictation, you study this by heart without missing a comma or a full stop. We are being fed like a robot. And today, with so much of distraction of the mobile phones and the social media, everybody thinks that the truth is there on the WhatsApp, in your YouTube, in your TikTok, and in your everything. I'm saying no, go back to basic. Let the child discover truth. It's so important. Let him discover what is the world, experience it. So don't spoon feed. So there's a whole chapter in my book called Don't Be a Photocopy of Anybody, not your parents, not your teachers, not your friends. Very often you have parents telling children, why can't you be like that? Your neighbor's kid, she's so smart, he's so smart.
So discover your unique talent.
Absolutely.
And discover your unique path.
Yeah, because God has created every kid to be unique. You are not a robot. You are not meant to be doing what your father did, what your neighbor did, and not your friend is doing. You got to be yourself, be yourself. That's the way I tried to be in the I.A.S. after I got it. I said, I want to be different. I don't want to be yet another bureaucrat who will be just signing files, and putting my Dhobi mark on there. I want to make a difference to India. That's precisely the reason why I got into civil service. When I said I want that power of civil service, what I meant was that I really want to bring a smile on the face of people. For me, power means the power to bring a smile on the face of people. How do I do that? Very simple, by being accessible, by meeting people, listening to them, not just receiving their petition and putting my signature basket with absolutely no end. I would listen to each of those people, sort out the problems. So I said, I need to bring happiness on the face of people. Anybody who walks into my office, I said, they should leave with a smile, with a happiness. That, wow, the government can deliver. So I'm telling children, come on, you must grow up with this feeling, yes, I'm born to make a difference. And this is what I want parents to tell their kids. Hey, my dear child, it's not the Prime Minister. I know Prime Minister is doing a great job. But it's not the Prime Minister, it's not your ministers, not Chief Minister, not your MP, MLA. You must make a difference. And my book has a lot of stories, of people.
We'll come to that in a while.
Yeah.
Now, there are 52 stories in the book. Some you have personally experienced from those people, and you talk about them and how one can learn from them or get inspired. Which is your favorite story out of this 52 stories, or one or two favorite stories?
I think all the stories are really favorites of mine because all these people about whom I've written, I've spoken to most of them, I met many of them. I think my story, my favorite story is the simplest one. So this police constable, Anishiva, in a police station, she's an ordinary police constable in Kerala. She gets a phone call from the public saying there are 3 abandoned children there. And she goes there, picks them up. They are 6 years, 3 years, and 3 months. So she brings them to the police station and she makes inquiry. She finds that they are from Jharkhand and she's in Kerala. These children are from Jharkhand, the parents are in jail, they have nobody. So after some time, these 3 kids start howling because they are hungry. So she buys food for the 6-year-old and 3-year-old and feeds them. Then what does she feed the 3-month-old? Now, this Anishiva, the constable, is a lactating mother. She has a 9-month-old child. She's a breastfeeding mother. So what does she do? She just unbuttons. She feeds the child. Now, look at this. To me, this is the greatest act. This represents India's philosophy, Vasudhaiva Kudambakam. She doesn't check the caste of the kid, the creed of the kid, where she is from. For her, this kid is a universal kid, isn't it? To me, this is an incredible act of being Indian, being a human being. And she will remain a police constable.
This is the chapter 12, Surrogate Mother in Khaki.
Yeah, exactly.
It simply illustrates that somebody who doesn't even know who these children are does the biggest act of kindness by breastfeeding them.
Yeah.
So really, she didn't know, as Mr. Alphons talks about in the book, she didn't ask for the caste, where the children are from. Mr. Alphons, There are many stories that got my attention. But one of the stories is about this magician,
Yeah, Mudugad, Govindan
Muthugal.
Mudugad.
There's chapter 70, which is empathy in magic. Why? Give us a sense of why did that story appeal to you?
So this Govindan Mudugad was a globally famous magician on the same level as David Copperfield. Now today he's leading a journey with differently abled children from Kerala. Yesterday he was in Sikkim, leading in this journey, performing in every state with differently abled children, going to each state and then getting the children from those states also involved and performing everywhere, saying, look here, these children are special, they are not useless, they can be on their own, they can be incredibly talented. So what he did was, one day in one of those magic shows where he went, there was a mother who came to me after the magic show and said, my child is disabled, can't you do something? That struck him. And he also went to Kasargod area where children were affected because of the use of endosulfan. And then he was deeply moved, children who are completely reduced to vegetables, who could do anything because of the sheer carelessness of government in enforcing the law. And he said, so I am going to do something for differently abled children. He sold all his properties, stopped his magic show, which was bringing him great amount of money, and set up this differently abled arts center in Trivandrum, which I've been there many times. It's a very vast campus in Trivandrum city, where they have many schools there, 7 schools, where they teach people through magic and music. They take some, all our 300 people who reside there are all differently abled children, many on the wheelchair. I mean, there's one kid who doesn't speak at all. There are many children like that. But this kid, he sings in 4 languages, more than 100 songs. He's incredible singer. He can't speak otherwise. He cannot speak normal course. Even when he stops singing, he cannot speak. So there are 300 children like that. Oh my God, I go there so often. If you go there, you'll be so deeply moved. Here is a guy who's doing fantastically well, suddenly decides there's a world out there which needs help, and he sold his last property, his wife's property also, put his money in there, and he's doing that.
Beautiful, Mr. K. Alphons. I definitely go there. And when I read the story, it told me that whatever gift God has given you, you can use that gift to be able to make impact and be kind to your environment. Now, you also talk about starting late in life, it doesn't matter where. So in chapter 49, you talk of Mr. Baines, Mr. Avtar Singh Baines, who you encountered in the I.A.S library while you were reading and trying to write the book. Give a sense of, a lot of people feel that, the time to be an entrepreneur, time to start something is a certain age. Give us a sense of why the story of Mr. Baines is important.
Yeah, you see, after I retired from Parliament 2 years back, my wife told me, don't waste time at home. Go and do something, please. And I have a lot of pets in my house, so she basically said, don't disturb the pets in my house. It's a way of telling you, just get lost, go. So I went to IIC, India International Center. In fact, this book is a product of India International Center. I would sit in the library, and in the corner, I would see this man sitting there every day. And then I asked his age. I found he was 89. And he told me that he's been, ever since retirement, before retirement, he never wrote anything. He was in the foreign service. He was a joint secretary and then became an ambassador level officer in the foreign ministry. And then after retirement, he came to IIC. And then if you see the almara, the shelf behind him, all those books, dozens and dozens of them are written by him. He's today 90. The incredible work he's done on Indo-China relationship, how many volumes, I don't know, 15 volumes, Indo-Pakistan, X number of volumes, Indo-Sri Lanka, X number of volumes. He just written a fantastic book on Nehru, Tibet and India. Now the latest book is on India's settlement, landmark settlement. He's just incredible. After retirement, he started writing the first line. Today, he's got dozens of absolutely authoritative books which are he's doing. So I'm telling people, retirement is not the end of life for lots of people. They are so distressed because on retirement, what do you do now, Nest? It's just incredible what he's done.
Fantastic. The message there is, that your new life starts the day you decide to start that new life. Now, there's another notion that Mr. Alphons debunks in his book, The Winning Formula, is that you need to be rich to be able to make a difference. You can only make a difference through money. There's a chapter 26 where he talks about a peon there who feeds 7,500 people every day. Mr. Alphons.
Yeah, so this is when I was the district collector of Kottayam. I was the collector there for almost 3.5 years. And I was chairman of the Kottayam Medical College Committee. So this is peon called P.U. Thomas, and he runs the Namajeevan Trust. So from the time he was a peon, he started feeding people. And to begin with, not in great numbers, he would cook at home, bring, pack in banana leaves and bring it. From the time he was, past school, he was doing that. Then seeing that, they gave him a job in the medical college. First as a temporary peon, then as a regular peon. This man retired as a peon from the Kottayam Medical College. He's about 75 now. He feeds 7,500 people every day. Every day. And he's got a home for the distressed. It's a fantastic building, 4-story building where there are over 100 people who are completely disabled whom he looks after. So he goes to I think 5 institutions including Medical College, Kottayam, early morning with breakfast, lunch and dinner. Imagine feeding 7,500 people. He was a peon when he started this. He continued to be a peon. He retired as a peon now. Giving is in your heart. It doesn't really matter. I mean, how rich you are. A lot of people think, I'm not rich enough to give. I mean, this completely debunks a story that you don't really have to be rich to give. Start giving whatever you have. You see, I have this strong belief that whatever I have is absolutely something which, been given to me as something of which I'm a trustee, what Gandhi said. I'm not a saint. I mean, don't misunderstand me when I say these things. But I truly believe this, that whatever we need to share. And of course, I try to do it in my life. I've also written about my brother, who is a Catholic priest, who's doing, I think, a job which is 10 times bigger than what I'm doing. So there are people like that who feel, no, I can't just sit on this wealth. I mean, you'll be surprised, Anurag, I don't buy anything. This jacket is good. This jacket is from my I.A.S. Academy days, 45 years. Does it look good? I don't have another blue blazer. When I was Tourism Minister of India meeting heads of state, this is what I was wearing. And this trouser is 30 years old. When the bottom part was torn, I said it to the tailor. He just cut off and then did it. So why I had only one black shoes for 13 years. I don't go to a coffee shop and buy a coffee which costs 250, 300 bucks because that can teach a child. I was instrumental in, when I was commissioner at DDA, of building Dwaraka, the biggest subsidy in India, 5,000 acres I acquired. I helped in designing it and built it. And I don't even have a studio apartment anywhere in the world. And after getting into politics, I sold 9 properties. Do I lack anything, Anurag? Not at all. I'm very happy. Am I going to own a house? No, I'll live in a rented house. Why do I need to build a house? So I think, Anurag, this huge sense of happiness which you get, you don't need to be rich. But there are, unfortunate part of India is that the art of giving is not there in India, unfortunately. I was just reading the newspaper yesterday, the entire corporate India donated only about 8,400 crores last year. Out of which one man donated 25% of that, Shiv Nadar, 2,400 and I think 25 crores. And I see in that list, some of the richest people in India have not donated much. So it's all a question of your values, in your inherent values. And I think this is what I want people to understand and tell their children, look here, happiness is indivisible. The world needs to be happy if you want to be happy, really. And I think there is such a tremendous joy in seeing, when you are able to teach your mate's children, somebody else's children, give them food.
Now there's a chapter which is about dealing with the cobwebs in one's mind, because whatever one can believe in, one can achieve. So this is the story number 48, where you say, don't let cobwebs in your mind stay. And that is the central theme of your book also, that it is about winning against yourself. Give us a sense of what is in this chapter.
Yeah, Anurag, you see, the problem with most people is that we make simple problems very complicated. Oh no, it's too complicated. You go to any government office, a file will be this much. One file which should have only one single sheet of paper is 100,000 pages. You make it so complicated. Government offices are fantastic in doing that. The private sector is also doing a good job of making things complicated. Why should things be complicated? See, when I was commissioner DDA, when I came here, everybody said, I was the first South Indian to come. Everybody made fun and said, oh, this Madrasi can't do anything. I'm fine with being called any name. I don't care. I said, let me see. So I said, make out a list of land which is encroached. I mean, DDA owns about 125,000 acres of land in Delhi. When we made a list, we found that vast areas of land was encroached, and the top 10 people were the biggest politicians in Delhi. And I said, I want to catch the biggest guys first. And number one on the list first. And he was an extremely powerful politician, president of a party in Delhi, a former union minister. And the size of the encroachment was 2 lakh square feet. We went, my people told me, sir, don't touch him because he's the one mainly responsible for, 5,000 Sardarji, 6 being burned alive in 84 after Indira Gandhi's assassination. I said, let me see. So to me, the size of the building was 2 lakh square feet. We went there, of course, with huge preparation. I don't do anything, jump at anything. Once I decide something, and then next party's planning, detailed planning right to the minutest comma. Then we go there with 10,000 policemen on trucks with guns, open truck. In front of that, 25 bulldozers. In front of that, me in real Hollywood, Bollywood style. My Clint Eastwood hat, my gun on my hips, my cowboy boots, me and my dog, 4 feet tall, Great Dane. Why? We want to create an impression that you don't fool around with government.
Demolition man.
Yes, I was on the ground and for 36 hours knocking that building down, and then I'm telling you, Anurag, over the next 5 years, my people, my 36,000 employees demolished 14,310 illegal buildings in Delhi. 14,310. Now tell me, somebody would say it's too complicated. To me, I put my bulldozer and the building comes down. It's the simplest thing in the world. So therefore, learn to not to build up curbs in your mind. The problems of the world are simple and the solutions are equally simple, provided you want to do it. If you don't want to do it, you will keep building curbs in your brain and say, oh my God, it's too complicated.
You talk about the chapter, story number 52, where you say, lucky to be alive. Gratitude unlocks so much happiness, if I may say. It helps you achieve what you want to while you're grateful for what you have. Give us a sense of why did you include this chapter, lucky to be alive?
Yeah, Anurag, you see, when I wake up every morning, I say, wow, I'm alive. Some people wake up and say, oh my God, another day, it's going to be horrible. No, I wake up with this very positive. Even if I have a headache, I say, wow, another day. And then I start that way. Because I have a lot of reason to be thankful for being, coming from a village to becoming whatever I was. Getting into the I.A.S, getting the Best Collector Award, and later Best MLA Award, being on the cover of Time magazine in the list of global leaders for that. Number 2, be alive, physically alive. When I was Commissioner DDA, I was under police protection. My kids went to school under police protection. My wife was beaten up and left for dead. My kids were beaten up. I thought everybody was dead. And we are alive. My wife survived. So to be alive, me and my family, is a miracle. When I was an MLA, I was the only MLA without a driver. I was driving from Trivandrum to Cochin, and then I was overtaking a bus, and they squeezed me in, and then I went over the median and hit the light, the electric post, fell over to the other side, turtled 4 times, and my Scorpio went to the shoulder, broke up into 3 pieces. There was not even a scratch. It's just providence. Nothing can explain why I'm alive. So I think plenty of reason to be alive. But then I decided I will be careful. You see, I shouldn't tempt gods too much, and vehicles too much. So I decided to slow down. But the funny part is, after I slow down, a lot of people come and hit me.
It's funny. And you talk about a little care can save lives in the story number 51. Give our readers that story.
Yeah, Anurag, too many people are dying on the roads of India in road accidents. And that's mainly because we don't care. You have an accident there, nobody stops. If somebody stops, the first thing they do is pull out their mobile and do a video and upload it on the YouTube. This is atrocious. Last year, 168,000 people died on road accidents in India, which is one of the highest incidents of death on roads anywhere in the world. And about 465,000 people had serious injuries on road accidents. Most of these deaths could have been avoided if these people reached.
They volunteered to do some action.
Exactly.
Take them to the hospital.
Yeah,
and I can tell you, Mr. Alphons, this interview is about you and your book, but I've done this thrice in my life.
Wow.
And
fantastic.
even this is one of the things I'm most proud of because
Yeah.
I don't talk about it. And at that time, in one case, the medical legal thing had been, that time the new law had come in.
Yeah.
But twice initially in my life, there were.
The cops were after you. I know.
No, they just called and they were very.
I know.
They were very cooperative, but they called me.
But you are lucky that they were.
Yeah, they were
nice
very cooperative.
Yes,
Very
yes.
cooperative.
Yeah, you see, so I'm also talking about, 3 youngsters who saw a little kid, running on the road and they stopped. A lot of vehicles just passed by. They stopped on the road.
Took him home.
Took him home to the mother. These little acts. Why don't we people who drive stop for pedestrians on the road? We would like to run over them. I mean, you go anywhere in the world, when they see pedestrians, they stop. Why don't we do this? Why are we in such a mad hurry? Go home and do what? Can't we at least when we see an accident, it could happen to you and your children as well. So come on, stop for a moment. Just take them to the hospital. Today the law says that you are absolutely safe if you take them to the hospital. They are not going to implicate you. So I think we need a kinder, much more human approach to dealing with the road accidents.
You talk of Sharon Shahane and you talk about grit through that story. Why is grit so important and can one cultivate grit?
Oh yes, Anurag, you see, I don't think I was a courageous person or a kid in school. No.
In fact, you talk about that people used to bully you or not talk to you.
Exactly. I mean, I was bullied in school, so I didn't have any courage in school. And when I went to college, I didn't have the courage. I picked it up slowly. So whenever I speak to youngsters, I tell them the most important equipment in your body is not your heart, not your brain, it's your backbone. And that backbone is not at the back, it's in your brain. The ability to stand up with courage, I think that's so important, the grit that you develop. If you ask me, I mean, I was beaten up, I mean, didn't you have fear? Frankly, only when my wife was beaten up and left for dead, when I thought everybody was dead, yes, I got very scared. But otherwise, I'm really not scared. When I go demolishing, carry my gun, I'm covered by security, I know I can be knocked out any time, any moment, because I was fighting the big mafia in Delhi. But I didn't really feel scared. So I'm talking about these girls like Shirin Sayana. She had a very bad marriage, married off early, and bad marriage, and persecuted by husband. She had the courage to throw that guy off. Then she fell from the roof. Her father died when she was young. They were in poverty. She fell from the rooftop, and she was on a wheelchair, and she didn't have money. She was in a remote area in Kerala, in Wayanad. She taught herself through taking tuitions, raised money, taught herself privately, and then she did the civil service, and today she's in the All India services in the last batch. I also talk about Fatima, a blind girl. She won the award from the President of India, born blind. She won the award from the President of India for being the best differently abled kid in the country, and she speaks 13 languages.
Her aspiration is to be.
I mean, it's incredible. She wants to be in the foreign service. Foreign service. I also talk about another case. You see, you saw the 12th Fail movie, which was a huge success about somebody getting into service. I have a story of Vijayan, an IPS officer in Kerala, who is 10 times the story of 12th Fail. He failed in class 10, not in 12th. Then discontinued school, went and worked in construction site as a worker. then taught himself, enrolled as a private student in school and college, and supporting the parents, and eventually did the All India Service Examination. And not only that, he got into IPS. He won the Best IPS Officer Award, the CNN Person of the Year Award in 2015, won incredible number of awards. So he's X times 12 failed story, because even after getting into service, he's done incredible story. There's also a story of an IPS officer, Rishraj Singh, who told his son, become whatever you want to. He's a very famous IPS officer, Rishraj Singh, very popular. He told his son, be whatever you want to be. And he is working with one of the biggest digital animation studios in the world. He says, all that I want you to be is happy and do whatever you want. So you have so much of exciting stories in my book.
You also talk about the snowman, Sonam Wangchuk, in the story.
Yeah, Sonam, you see, from Ladakh, after passing engineering, unlike people who join multinational companies and migrate abroad, I have nothing against them. I mean, if he can contribute to the world, fantastic. If he can contribute to India, fantastic. He went to Ladakh, back there, tried to improve the school education and set up his own institution where, the criteria for entrance was failure in capital letters. You have to be a school failure to be admitted there. And then he would kind of inspire them to be innovators in their own areas.
Channel their dreams towards the areas that they love.
Exactly, and talked about sustainable development and how Indian villages can be self-sustaining. Then after that, he set up a university where again it's all about innovation. I mean, incredible work.
Mr. Alphons, clearly this book can be your companion for 52 weeks. You can read one story a week and hopefully implement some of it in your life. It will give you definitely satisfaction. It may help you achieve your dreams. What is the central theme of the book? What is the takeaway that someone will have after reading the book? There are many inspirational stories, but what's the common thread that runs through?
Yeah, a couple of things to say that, very simple. Whatever you want, you can do it. You must want it, you must dream, and you must work hard. Work not like a donkey, but smart work. Again, lot of bureaucrats keep complaining because of the political system, I'm not able to do it. I keep telling myself in every job, I am the system. Then I quit and joined politics because everybody says politics is dirty.
In fact, you have a chapter saying we need clean people.
Politics. Yeah, so I said I want to prove that politics can be clean. I quit I.A.S, became an independent MLA in Kerala on 32nd day, and I completely redefined what an MLA can be, driving to the village without a driver, to going to the village, spending a whole day with the panchayat president and members in the village, bringing money. I brought 350 crores, and not only that, I spent that entire money. We built every bridge in 100 days. We built the massive civil station in 1 year instead of 4 years. So I proved that politics can be clean, and eventually, of course, I became the tourism minister of India, and we came to the third rank when I was minister in 2018-19. So the whole thing is, if you want it, whoever you are not dumb. You can do it. You just need to decide one day, yes, I'm intelligent, I have the talent, I will decide to do it. I will change India and bring happiness on the face of people with my life, not somebody else. So that's the central theme.
Mr. Alphons, you achieved so much. Is there a bucket list that you have? What else is left for you to do?
Oh, no, it's very exciting. I start my day with the morning jog. I jog 5 kilometers a day. I really think, now I think I'm just going to go on a book promotion because I want really every Indian to read this book. For I'm saying in the preface, mother, read to your children before they are able to read. And there is not one word in my book which an 8-year-old cannot understand. I want them to read this book every week, and then I want school kids to say, wow, it's possible to do it. And the big dream actually, Annurag, has to happen in school. I want school kids to do that. When they go to college, I want to say, wow, yes, I've already done this. Now I want to go further. I really want to be the one who makes a big difference. And to corporate executives, I'm talking about when I was a corporate executive as managing director of Kerala Milk Federation, where I increased the milk sales manifold by simply doing a thing, trusting the customer and saying, if you say your milk is damaged. Earlier the system was you bring it to the dairy, show that it is damaged, and then we'll replace it. No, you give me a call, I'll replace it at home. I won't even ask you to show me the damaged milk. Trusting your customers, and then see, doing destructive work like demolition. Everybody is scared. You think you will become unpopular. But when Times of India did a poll on me when I was commissioner DDA, after demolishing, I got 89.6% of the DI supporting me. So in that job, see, everything that you want to do, you can do it. And nothing stops you except your mind, your imagination.
Mr. Alphons, my last two questions. One, you worked with the Prime Minister. You've seen him closely. You referred in your interview also that he's doing a great job. He's just started his third term. Give us some insights into what you feel about the Prime Minister, about his working style, about what his goals for India are.
Yeah, you see, 2 years back, I wrote a book on Modi's government saying accelerating India. See, I was an independent MLA in Kerala supporting the left, and the day I was renominated again in 2011, after 5 years, I quit. I would have become a minister within a month. I quit and joined BJP because I wanted Modi to become Prime Minister. Why? Because I said the country is in a mess, and this is one man who can do things. Modi is a doer. I'm a great admirer of doers. I don't necessarily like people who just do the talking only, promises. But Modi is a doer. He's done incredible things. See, most of what he's done is for the poor people, create infrastructure for poor people and given them dignity. He let the corporate sector grow, and look at, let's say, one example, the digital world. What India has done is the UPI is a model for the world.
The digital public infrastructure.
Yeah, it's incredible what
So
he's
what
done.
are the qualities that, that echo with your book,
See,
the winning formula?
Yeah.
Naturally, instinctively, he has the winning formula.
See, 2-3 things. Whenever I meet him, he's extremely attentive. He listens to you. And then he's extremely sharp. He grabs and he does things immediately. It's not. And therefore, he's looking for ideas. He likes people who do things. And he's an incredible doer. And he's hardworking. He's systematic. It's just not that he works hard. He does things in time and makes sure. I mean, look at the kind of roads we have built, toilets, houses.
And now the health.
Ayushman Bharat benefiting. You see, what he's done is incredible. Now we need to go to the next level. India to become a developed country. That is his dream by 2047. But let me put it that way. I think we need an incredible change of mind from the citizen of India to become a developed country. Because we can't be like this. I think we are negative. We don't contribute our best. We don't work hard. We don't think about the society other than our own little family.
So there is a sense of entitlement.
Yeah.
Or sense of acceptance of the status quo.
Absolutely. And secondly, the bureaucracy needs to really say, we will change. We need dramatic change.
By the way, Trump and Elon Musk are saying that the biggest change they'll make in the new administration is do away with a lot of bureaucracy.
Absolutely. We need officers to perform. You see, whoever is not doing it, you should have the courage to sack somebody. But then we need to get things done. Bureaucrats need to have leadership. We can't say system doesn't permit me to do. And then the corporate sector, we can't be comfortable like this. I think we've been protected. They've been far too much protected. I think the corporate sector must show leadership. We need to do things in India, manufacture things in India. We have the brains to do it, but somehow, I mean, the corporate sector also, I won't say is an epitome of innovations in India. No, they don't put money into innovation.
R&D.
Yeah, they don't. They a quick buck. But there are some corporations which I have mentioned in my book, which have long-term goals, which are determined. So I think it requires an overall hype in our thinking, and this is exactly why I wrote in the book. I think anybody who reads this book, I think they'll be on fire.
My last question. You were the tourism minister of India. I was in Turkey 14 years back, and I went to a site next to the mosque. I don't know whether the Blue Mosque or the other mosque, but it was a cistern. It was a water body and a cistern, and they charged me €1 for visiting. I think in India we would have much more interesting things, at least 10 lakh of those. What do we need to do in Indian tourism to be able to get the world to experience India and also make tourism and the services revenue to a level that India deserves it. We have so much to offer in spiritual tourism, in religious tourism. People who are going outside. I have heard this story from a friend that a friend of mine went to to get the American visa, and the guy was about to stamp it, and he asked, "Where are you going?" And he said, "Here." By the way, he said, "I went to these places in India," and asked him, "Have you been there?" He said, "No." And the American visa consulate told him, "First go there and then I'll give you the visa." So the point is, you're the tourism minister. Why is the tourism sector not really getting its due?
Yeah, I'll tell you, number one, I think India is the most incredible country. I'm not saying this because I'm an Indian, I'm a nationalistic Indian. I am, but India is most incredible. The kind of stuff which we have is not anywhere in the world. I've been to over 100 countries. Take, for example, just one thing. Take Ellora, cave number 16, the Shiv temple. I think it's the most incredible creation in the history of humanity, of humankind. This is a million times bigger than the pyramids or anything else in the world. The Shiva temple, cave number 16 in Ellora. Now you visit Ellora. It's so deplorable, Anurag. There's not even a decent coffee shop in Ellora. See, this is our problem.
So we need to build infrastructure around it so that it brings back tourists, and
exactly.
You have to build the ecosystem around these sites.
Exactly. We need the we need hotels, we need restaurants, we need a million other things. You go to tourism places, the kind of things which it supports. Take, for example, any of these places. Take, for example, the Buddhist circuit, Sarnath, where Buddha made his first speech, and the entire Gaya. If he invests $10 billion on that, create an infrastructure which is fantastic. You need the roads, you need airports, we need hotels, we need everything. Go abroad, see. I'm just not talking about hotels alone. There are a million other things which you need to fall in line. We could get 10 million tourists only on that one Buddhist circuit, and this would be high-end.
So why hasn't we known this for a while?
See, you would be surprised. We are not spending money on tourism at all. The budget on tourism is very little. State governments don't spend money on tourism at all.
It will all come back.
It will all come back. Now we are limiting it to the private sector, but the fact is that the government should create the basic infrastructure, and then see, even if you take Kerala created the basic infrastructure government, then the private sector just took off and is doing fantastic. And of course, don't destroy our tourism like Goa did. All backpackers, and there's absolutely no control. I think it's absolutely a lawless world. We need to get people who are willing to pay. Get me? We don't need to,
By the way, the Indian tourists are the second largest spenders now after the Chinese across the world.
Exactly. Well, we spend a lot of money outside, and we also need to pay. Like Kerala has adopted the right thing, like Bhutan. We only need the higher end paying people. We can't actually. India has plenty of people, maybe a little too many. We don't want to crowd our country, but we need to bring in the money. The whole world should come and see India. And to begin with, again, I think Indian children. The Prime Minister has asked NRIs, please send your children back to India. I mean, India has such incredible stuff.
I'm sure in this term of Modi, you'll see a lot more action on tourism. Already a lot of airports in such cities which are of historical and religious significance or of tourist value are coming up. I'm sure it's a focus area. Thank you, Mr. Alphons, for talking to us. And I'm sure all of us would love reading this book. I read this book last night. This is your weekly supply of fuel for the spirit. So read the book, and I'm sure it will inspire you to do better. Thank you, Mr. Alphons, for
Thank you, Anurag. Thank you so much.
Talking to you. Yeah. Thank you.